These are three things to watch out for when you're waiting on God for something. One, are you in a hurry? You see, when you're in a hurry, everything starts to look like the right timing. When you're in a hurry and you see the skies are blue and with a little orange line over it, you just feel, you know what, that's a sign from God. When you're waiting on God, everything starts to sound like the voice of God because you're in a hurry. And it would be so convincing because you're in a hurry. You've waited so long, right? That's number one red flag to watch out for. Are you in a hurry? You know, you got to still yourself to be able to hear from God, to be able to hear that something is timely. You can't rush God because you can't make him speak any faster than he wants to, you know, and he's not going to let you out or hand this thing over to you any faster just because you're in a hurry. Right? How many times have you put food in the microwave sometimes and before it's, 2 minutes, 30 seconds or whatever time you punch, you open it just because you can't really wait for the thing to get to the time that you put it on. Only to find out that, it's not really as hot as you want it. No, you gotta wait the whole time. You gotta wait the whole time. If at all you really want what God has for you. Number 2 red flag to watch out for, isolation. Are you isolated? That's a big red flag. You know why? Because if all you hear constantly is your opinions, your own voice, it can start to sound like the voice of God. Nothing to challenge you, nothing to say, you know what, now let's check that. No authority to say, you know what, I don't think that's lining up with what God said. Let's check that. Let's wait a little while. If you don't have that other voice in your life, you need it. The Bible says, do not forsake the assembling of the brethren. Iron sharpened iron, right? The Bible always talks about two are better than one. Because if one falls in the ditch, one will help the other one get out. Even when they're together and it's cold outside, two can keep themselves warm, right? And you can't be isolated. You just can't, because you just make decisions that, yikes. And that's why even when some people go shopping sometimes, they ask for opinions. You ever go shopping with someone and they're like, I don't think that looks good on you, Sometimes you need that godly voice. Always, actually, not sometimes. You need that godly voice in your life telling you that, I don't think that's the will of God. I don't think the timing is right, Now, last but not least, this is like the opposite of the second one. 3, it's the wrong company you got to watch out for. Remember the life of Job, right? When all that stuff happened to Job, the wrong company tried to tell him to curse God and just die. The wrong company told him to forsake all of these things and that God is wicked and all these things. They tried to say, maybe you have done something, like you're the cause of all these things. Wrong company, listen, will destroy you, especially when you're waiting on God. Because the thing also about waiting is, I made a video about this the last time. The enemy also knows that you're waiting on God for something. And what happens is, just before you go through that gate, you go through into that promise, Satan likes to dangle things on the way. And if your company is not discerning, if the people around you are not discerning, prayerful people, they will most likely align you to the will of Satan. Because if Satan cannot use your enemies against you, guess who he's going to use? He's going to use your friends. All right? So watch out for your company. There's certain people that you must know by now that you can't even ask them anything about spiritual matters, right? Like it's fine to keep some people around when it comes to, sports and leisure activities and all that stuff. But when it comes to things of the spirit, because we're not supposed to only have, I don't believe we should only have friends who are Christians, right? But you should know which place every friend has in your life. There's serious issues in your life. There's serious questions in your life that you can't bring to every single person, right? And so the company you keep when you're waiting on God is very important. especially when it comes to the timing and who has a say in giving you advice about God's promises. It's very critical, very, very critical.